What's up, guys? This is Pain User.
And this is Cat's Pajamas.
And we have another IPL Season 2 Qualifier number 2 game for you guys. This is a round of 128, and we have RGIFuRy spawning as our orange Terran in the bottom position. Our map today is Zelnaga Caverns, and at the top position, we have ONEGatored as our green Protoss. And you actually had the pleasure of meeting our Protoss player, Gatored, at MLG Columbus. Right?
I did, as a matter of fact. Got to meet the manager from All for One Gaming. Met a couple of the players as well. Great, very well-mannered bunch, trying to make a splash, and I think that Gatored is one of those players that, with a little bit more exposure, a little bit more tournament experience under his belt, going to develop into quite a force.
Awesome. You know, it's always nice to see more teams getting into esports. More, you know, it's crazy how many different teams are popping up all over the place and how much fresh talent there is. It's kind of awesome, you know. We all know the powerhouse teams, right? You know, you got your EGs, your Fanatics, and,
right?
But there are so many other teams out there that actually do have, you know, semi-legit sponsorship. They can't quite pay salary yet. You know, they're not going to be starting a pro house anytime soon, but they have some good players and they can send them to events, and that's really, really cool because that gives, you know, the organization a chance to grow with those players. And it also gives those players a chance to move on and, you know, join better teams or stay with their original team if the team grows at the same pace that they're growing.
And teams really are growing at that pace. I mean, we have more and more money being put into esports. Bigger sponsors are getting involved. We all know EG just managed to land a couple of big lifestyle sponsors. Dr. Pepper's gone after Kiwi Kaki. Strike Gun went after Liquid Tyler. So, I mean, players are getting significant sponsorships now. A lot of money is being put into it. So, very exciting time in esports.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, RG, a similar team in the European scene as to what I'm describing. Although I feel they're quite a bit larger than you know, your ones or your VVVs of the Western scene. But RG's actually been around for quite a while. One of the more established teams, and Fury actually one of their premier Terran players who's actually been doing really well recently.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had the pleasure of casting him on the European server a couple of times in tournaments, so a player that's impressed me every time, especially with his dedication. So we'll see what both players give now. Looks like Forever has opened pretty standard. There's one racks down. He has enough gas for a factory if he so chooses to drop that down at the moment, saving it up a little bit. There's 150 minerals, and there's our factory. So a factory coming out. ONEGatored, on the other hand, just going to go right into Warpgate technology here in a second. Didn't get that up immediately, but does have it underway now.
Very interesting that Fury decided his building placement's very interesting. He's not putting any depots at the top of the ramp. You know, he has both of his buildings very close to the front of his ramp. This leads me to believe he might be doing some kind of tank all-in. He's definitely poising himself for some kind of an aggressive play where he rallies his production facilities, you know, to his opponent's base, or maybe he just wants them to pop out that much closer to the ramp. But either way, he's certainly not preparing for a defensive posture at the top of his ramp, so that's not going to be a focal point of this game, at least in his mind. The game may turn out differently, and that's why I'm always a proponent of, you know, you putting your buildings, as Terran, you might as well build every building, you know, where it could possibly help you. And there we go. Now building those depots at the front, kind of realizing, hey, you know, I might need a wall here at some point. We do have a Zealot and a Stalker coming to the front. Nice micro there, but from Fury, not losing a single Marine. Going to send that Hellion out. Probably going to get this Zealot. I don't know. He could use that Stalker to screen for the Zealot, and it looks like that's what he's going to do. So he might take some damage on that Stalker, too. Yeah,
absolutely. It looks like the Zealot is going to fall, so Fury does manage to get himself a nice little kill there. Looking back at his side of things, just a medevac coming up. He is working off a double gas at the moment and going to bunker himself in at the front of his ramp. Gatored, on the other hand, going up to 3 gates in a robo after he decided to put down that very, very fast expansion. Was a 1-gate expo, was saving up a lot of gas there, initially went into a Sentry and then another Stalker and Robo, but he is going to have pretty good gas production. See if he just goes into that 2-base Colossus style build, 6-gate Robo, something like that. He's obviously not going for some sort of a double forge, you know, 6-gate timing attack or anything like that, unless he decides to go for Wart Prism play.
Starting to add some more gates now, but I don't think he might not even get to that stage, to be honest. We're going to see some real aggressive Hellion Marine pressure here out of Fury. I'm not really sure what Fury's doing. Like, and he has a second starport on the way off of one base, so it looks like we're going to see some double Banshee action here. May or may not get cloaked. This is a very strange build coming out of Fury here. He's setting himself up to be so far behind, and with that Robo already out, Gatored is going to be able to make Observer, and it looks like he's getting a Raven first, so we are going to see a hardcore all-in here from Fury. It's going to be mostly Marine, and it looks like he's also going to drop some Hellions in the back here, but it might get scouted by that Pro building a pylon. I'm not sure if he saw that. These three, yeah, he did see that. He's already moving his troops, so this drop going to do essentially nothing. Completely thwarted. He is going to lose one Hellion there, and is going to manage to get out of there, but, no harm, no foul, no damage. And keep in mind, Gatored is fully operational at his expansion right now, and this all-in feels like it's coming really late because he added that second starport, had to get that second tech lab. I mean, that's just so much time and tech invested in really going after those air units, and his army, I feel like, is really suffering as a result. Yeah, absolutely, and this is just a ton of resources invested. If Fury doesn't kill his opponents in pretty quick fashion whenever he gets a couple of units up, I mean, he is done. Done. Gatored is going to have a huge economic advantage. He's working off of 2 bases. He'll be producing off of a 4-gate and a robo facility. He could go to a robotics bay pretty easily, so he'll be matching his opponent in tech soon. It's just going to have to come down to, whether or not the PDD that comes out of the Raven is going to be able to stop the Stalkers long enough that this all-in has success. I'm really curious to see how this ends up. I'm also really curious to see why forever. I mean, I guess he has this build worked out where he knows that he needs this third barracks here on this one base, but the window is the timing window is going to close on him pretty rapidly if if he allows especially ONEGatored to get all of his production going. Yeah, and Gatored is actually getting a pretty stalker heavy composition, which is quite frankly terrible for Fury, because Fury is essentially massing Banshees. His Marines are going to have no upgrades. He has a couple of Hellions thrown in there, and I mean, his Marine count really isn't even that insane. Like, for an all-in, without the second starport, without the second, oh my god, we have quite a few SCVs being pulled off the line here. It looks like this is just a full all-in here, and it's going to get scouted by the Observer. The Observer saw pretty much everything coming. I'm not sure if he knows exactly how much or if the SCVs are coming, but he knows the attack is coming nonetheless. He is going to prepare for it. Looks like he's warping in some extra Zealots, chrono boosting the gateways, and just now pulling ahead in supply is Gatored. So he took that earlier expansion and sacrificed a little bit of supply, and it looks like he is going to wait and regroup all of his troops here outside before he heads in. Yep, just waiting for those SCVs to run ahead and buffer the damage. So here he comes now. Fury making his way in. Guardian Shield goes down. One PDD does drop. The force fields stop a ton of units now, but the Zealots, well, there really weren't that many Zealots to get in, so it wasn't like he was counting on that to buffer much damage. These SCVs, though, have absorbed none of this, and they haven't really been repairing either. All of these units have gone down so quickly, and at the moment, Gatored, he is down in supply, but he is repelling the attack. How much more damage is he going to do? Looks like he is being forced back. Fury is going to push in. Is he going to do enough damage, though, to take his opponent out? I think that was a lot of miss micro on Gatored's part. I think he had more than enough to deal with that. He didn't necessarily need to fight at that PDD right there. There was nothing critical that he was defending at the bottom of his ramp. And man, I can't believe he lost to that. Like, go over to the right side real quick where he was, where that fight occurred. Okay, so there's a PDD there. He definitely could have fallen back, to his Nexus, but played it out. He did not want to fight at that PDD. That's what ultimately cost it for him. His Stalkers weren't able to kill the Banshees, and there were so many Banshees just shooting at the Stalkers the whole time. But his force fields couldn't have been better. I mean, honestly, those 2 force fields were almost perfect. And as soon as he hit those 2 force fields and had everything trapped outside of his base, he should have fallen back. He did not need to fight right there. Like, he hit 2 perfect force fields, and then he engaged to where the Marines could actually use the force fields as a temporary wall. Yeah, absolutely, because all the Zealots were just forced right through the Hellions that were sitting over there on the right, and they went down one after another after another. And I also take things way too literally, because I'm believing that ONEGatored is telling us a story, and lo, ONEGatored has left the game. But anyway, my humor's terrible today. But anyway, guys, so yes, it's like a waving portal character. Right? That's awesome. Maybe that's what he meant. I don't know. I think he was going for the LOL, or maybe the... Yeah, he was going for the LOL. But nonetheless, guys, Fury does take game number 1 with an all-in that Gatored apparently wasn't prepared for. So we're going to head into game number 2, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a second. Stay tuned.